All right, so we're back today with another random topic video from our little random topic bag, which is very random. And yes, it's going to be doing the honors and picking our topic for today.
No pressure. Silo.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, that's actually a really interesting topic that we
Yeah,
could relate to the state of the world.
Silo. Yeah.
Well, because it's the whole topic of like people not knowing
Oh, because
about
that's
like
the
their
Apple TV
origins.
show.
Yeah, where they're living in the silo.
Okay, all right. That went right over my head for a minute. I was like, Silo. Okay. Got you. Okay, so Silo was the Apple TV show. Give
Yes.
me some like more background, just to
Okay.
refresh my memory
Yeah,
and
I
let
got
everybody
you.
else know.
Okay, so Silo, like Millie was saying, is an Apple TV show, which is a really interesting concept. So it's basically spoilers if you haven't seen it and want to watch it, we will be talking more in depth about it. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers,
Just stay.
bye.
Just listen. Just watch this video, man. Whoever you are,
Okay.
just stay with us.
Anyway, so it basically the concept of the show is it's this population of people living in this underground silo, and they have one basically connection to the outside world that is someone has to go outside and like clean this camera,
Right.
and that is the only thing, the only again connection they have to the outside world is this one little camera that shows them a desolate like desert with some deserted city in the back basically.
Mm,
um I guess just shows like the remnants of the old world or whatever, and like
yeah.
shows them why they're in the silo, like something happened on
Or I guess
earth
why
that
they can't like
we,
leave the
well, right,
silo.
why they can't leave. We don't know, they don't know what happened
Yeah.
on earth that they
Yeah.
had like forced them to go down into the silo. And the elders, or I don't remember what they
Yeah.
called them, but they were the only ones who had any sort of knowledge and any sort of insight on the relics of the past,
Right.
or any sort of, I guess, connection to the
Past world.
generations
Yeah.
past. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything? I mean, I
Yeah.
could
Well,
keep
because
talking.
well, because I know there's like it's been like a couple generations. So like the original people, like yeah, like you were saying, like they only have like a few remnants of the past world, which was like a magazine or a book, but like the ruling power that's in the silo is like really adamant about keeping these things under wraps. They don't
Mm-hmm.
want people to know about that. They're like also just I mean I don't not to jump around,
No,
but
jump
one
around.
random part that really stuck with me was that like they were again the ruling party of the silo were selectively allowing like which women they
Mm.
allowed to have kids because everyone was on like a permanent birth control which prevented that and you have to go to the
Right.
doctor.
And they would have to remove it and like approve you to have children.
Right. And they were specifying which women were allowed to have children and were essentially stopping anybody who had that knowledge or memory of the outside world. They were stopping them from like
Right. Or like
reproducing.
anyone who was curious or was
Right.
like more intellectual and was questioning things in the
Yeah,
silo. They weren't telling people that they weren't taking out
exactly.
their birth control. They'd be like, oh, yeah, like you can try and have a child. You have this amount of time to
Hmm.
try and have a child. If not, we're putting your birth control back in.
Right.
And so they would have to go to the doctor to get the birth control out, but they wouldn't actually get to see, or like the doctor would take out a fake or like throw a fake in a little
Like,
container and be
yeah,
like, here's your birth control, it's out. But then they wouldn't have actually taken it out. So they were
yeah,
lying to the people who they
yeah,
didn't actually want having kids, and
yeah.
not telling them, like, oh, yeah, we don't want you having kids. But there was
Which is a
this, like,
it's such a
yeah,
it's such a crazy concept to literally be like essentially effective the ruling class effectively breeding curiosity out of the population. Like that is a pretty crazy like concept. They were literally
yeah,
doing that in order to maintain control and it was for the most part working, but people
Mm-hmm.
were still like asking
Yeah,
questions.
there were still people who were curious and asking questions and
Yeah.
didn't believe what they were hearing or didn't believe that there was nothing outside of the
Yeah.
silo because
Yeah.
there was this whole thing with like a glitch in the camera basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um and like it would show this beautiful like green landscape
Yeah.
outside of the silo and
Yeah.
so the main character on her name right now, but
Yeah.
the main character, she like saw it and then was immediately questioning, like, why aren't they showing this to us? What is the truth?
Yeah.
What is actually out there? Why is
Mm-hmm.
everybody who goes out to clean the camera dying when they go outside?
Exactly.
And
And that's kind of like another big thing in their society. Like if you essentially ask to go outside, that's like capital punishment. They
mm-hmm,
like if you ask, that's like an automatic, you're removed from society. So they like essentially put you in jail. And then they have this whole little ceremony where you have to go out and like clean the camera, which then reinforces for the people inside that there's something wrong with the outside world
right.
because they see
So
that
they shouldn't go
person.
out.
Exactly, because then they see that person wipe the camera, and then something happens to them, which we find out later in the show. They're like poisoning the
Mm-hmm.
thing using like a material that poisons the people. But
Right.
they were seeing the people like stagger off into the distance and like fall
Fall
down
over
and
and die.
die.
Yeah.
And so it was reinforcing to the people inside, like, oh, we can't go out, we can't go out. But essentially, the story started because the woman who had recently gone out and where we saw the glitch was the sheriff's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so that like started this whole thing because obviously the sheriff was like immensely depressed and stuff
Yeah.
once his wife went out, and then people had seen that glitch that you were talking about.
Right.
But to I guess like should we talk about how like the different elements of like control that they were
Yeah.
using? Because I thought one was really interesting, like the cave system that was like underneath
Mm-hmm.
all the stuff, and we saw what happened when the guy got to that like special door,
Right.
and then there was a
A big
voice.
voice. And it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, because do we ever figure out what that was saying? There
No,
should
there's
be
supposed to
another
be another
season,
season.
right? Okay.
Yeah, I guess we
I was
should
like,
check.
what happened with that?
See if there is when
Yeah,
the
we'll have
next
to check
season.
that after. But yeah, that was so interesting. It was like the big voice and it was like welcome and it said the person's name.
Yep,
It
because they
was
had
like
been
the young
watching.
guy who had found it and everything went down
Yeah,
because it was the other woman. I forget what they called them, the judge or something.
yeah, the judges like yeah.
Yeah, and they were like,
Because I mean, I guess a little bit more backstory. It's like there was obviously various levels of control within the
mm-hmm,
society. You had like the people who live higher up in the silo that are living their nice, cushy lives. But then you had the people on the bottom half of the silo who were like the engineers, the service
right,
people. They were keeping the energy on and things like that. So there was a lot of confrontation throughout the show of,
mm-hmm,
again, like we see in society, the upper echelons, the people in control, the people with the money, the power, versus the people who actually are like making
right,
society function, like the essential workers, the
mm-hmm,
engineers, the people who are literally helping this old generator survive.
right, and then all of the people at the top would be like, what is it, snubbing them
Yeah,
basically.
and they had control of the military and all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff, so they were always like enforcing on the bottom half.
Yeah, and always like demonizing and villain, whatever,
Yeah, you had it. You
villainizing
had
them.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely a really interesting thing that they also played on because we do see
Mm-hmm.
that in society,
So
in our
much.
society as
Yeah.
well, just
So
like
much.
the like top
Classism.
1%, whatever. Yeah, the classism, just like frowning on the people who actually keep our society running
I
and
know.
do the
Yeah.
jobs that keep their jobs going and like
Yeah.
allow them to make as much money as they're making or live their cushy lives. It's from
Yeah.
all of the people who keep the energy going, that
Yeah.
keep the gears turning and actually run their business
And as
or
soon as there
whatever
was like the
without.
confrontation between the two, the bottom half was like threatening cutting off the power for the whole silo.
Mm-hmm.
And then what did the top half do? They immediately cut off like food supply for the bottom half.
Yeah.
So then it was like just so many power dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. Sorry.
Well, and one of the interesting things is how much of the like governing body in there was just a facade. Because when they did cut the power,
Mhm.
spoiler again, when they did cut the power, everybody else on the silo that was around the like government office, I just call it government, I don't remember what they
Yeah.
called it specifically, but the power was still on.
Yep. They had their own
They
power
had their
supply.
own power source, and everyone was
Yeah.
like, what is
What is
going
going
on? What
on?
do you mean by
Yeah,
that?
that was
How
crazy.
are you still powered? They had to run and like shut their power off really quick so that people weren't like more questioning it.
People
Oh, it
saw.
just ran further for us when they turned it
Yeah,
off. But it's just like,
emergency or
yeah.
whatever.
But yeah, so that
But
was
and yeah, so as the show is going on, we kind of things got a bit kind of crazy, right? Because the lead engineer, the woman who's the main character, great actress by the way. Not
yeah, she
sure
was great.
what
I
her
don't know
name
what her
is,
name is, but
but yeah, she is the head engineer. Like kept the engine running, and then she ends up going out, like getting like asking to clean. I don't
right.
remember
Well,
what exactly
because
the circumstances that led to that. I know it was due to the power shut off in that little
yeah, and
ward.
then because they had figured out that when they were sending other people out to clean, they weren't using actual electrical tape on their
Right.
suits. They were just using like plain old tape that didn't seal anything. So
Exactly.
when people were going outside, they had poison also being pumped out into the air around them.
Yeah.
So it would seep into their suit and all of the holes from this plain tape, and then they would be poisoned and die. But she figured
Yeah.
out, or they figured out, because what are you
Mhm.
gonna say? Go ahead.
No, you finish your
Okay.
thought. Sorry.
What they figured out was that they were just using the bad tape for
Yeah.
the suits. So they figured out, okay, we need to bring the actual electrical tape or whatever from engineering and put that on my suit. And
Yeah.
that's why she was like, I'm going outside,
Yeah.
so that she could test basically the theory. And she said something about, if I am fine, whatever, I won't clean. And she didn't clean.
Right.
What were you gonna
Yeah.
say
Right.
there?
Because she didn't clean, which was big, and then like I don't remember if she figured it out before or after, but they essentially figured out that that glitch was like a recording and
Mm-hmm.
wasn't actually outside, which turned into a whole
Yeah.
other thing because they like found it on another computer at some
Mm-hmm.
point. But essentially, she is outside and she's like realizing, okay, the world isn't this beautiful green landscape,
Right.
but she also discovers that they're in a field of like 100 or more
Hundreds of
silos, like
silos.
tons of silos that obviously it's like a huge shock. So she just is like terrified and then ends up running to like the closest one
Right.
that
And the
was
whole
there.
thing with her like being outside, everybody always dies when they go out there. And everybody, when she went out, watched her walk over the
Over the
hill
hill,
and
yeah.
disappear from their
They
camera.
were
So
terrified.
yeah, it
It
was
yeah, it caused so much more unrest in their silo. But I guess like the crazy part was when she got to like the other silo, because there was one that was like open and there were like a bunch of skeletons on the ground. There was like all this stuff, and so she went in there to figure out like what had happened,
what
like
was going,
what happened to all
yeah.
these people. And I thought that that was really cool because we kind of got the backstory of the other silo, but we
Mm-hmm.
also kind of learned about the bigger power that's behind the silos, because essentially we learned that the people of that silo made it out into the world. They didn't have protective gear on or anything, but poison gas was shot from behind them. And the poison gas came and killed them all, basically fried them and like
Mm-hmm.
fried them.
Basically, yeah.
And so there is a controlling body that we're unaware of, like a controlling
Yeah,
power.
something outside of this field of
Right.
silos.
But yeah, I guess like that scene was just kind of breathtaking as well because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, there were, like you said, hundreds of
Hundreds.
silos.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because then it just begs the question, are these the only area? Is this the only area with all of these silos? Is life continuing elsewhere outside of this? And this is just a science experiment, and the
Right.
governing, the like overseers are the scientists? Because I think another theory that you and I played around with is like, is this just like a simulation? They're just like in a big dome underground, and
Right.
this is all just like screens
Right.
around
Because
them.
essentially in the show we had found out that the screen that they watch when people are going out, it's like a fake screen. Like it's
Yeah,
not showing them like the actual outside world or like
right.
what reality is. And so we it kind of did make us think like, what if it's all a facade.
Right.
And this is like an experiment that was done, because then there was that teaser that teed up season 3 at the
Oh, I don't
end.
know.
But it was like, I guess, semi-modern times, and there was like a war
right.
breaking out like in the
Mhm.
real world.
Yeah, and it was because one of the like relic things was a Pez
I
dispenser.
know, so
So
random. The
weird.
relics were
Yeah, it was interesting.
Pez dispenser does not hold that much weight in real
Yeah.
life. I'm not sure what they
No,
were
I
trying to
don't know.
accomplish
Yeah.
with that. The
I
magazine with
guess
the
it was
pictures, I can
yeah.
understand. A Pez
Pez
dispenser,
dispenser, I
come
guess
on,
just one of those
lads.
like nostalgic things that like
Yeah,
we probably had when we were kids and stuff.
yeah,
So we could be like, oh, Pez dispenser.
I know,
Like
yeah,
but yeah, that's right. They were the very last scene of the season that we had most recently watched. I can't remember if there were 1 or 2 already. Um
I think
I
it was
don't,
two,
yeah. Okay, so the very last like 5 minutes, not even, of the last episode that we watched was modern times. It was like a guy meeting a woman in a bar. She was a journalist or something, and
right.
like
It was like a first
reporting, and
date.
he was, which is kind of ironic because we saw something like that
I know,
recently.
yeah.
But she was like reporting on some war that broke out and trying to like dig him for information,
Yeah,
basically. I don't remember exactly what it was saying,
yeah,
but yeah, like very interesting. I hope they do fill us in on more background of the
yeah,
silos. Is this a
100.
global thing? Are there silos in every country? Are other countries not experiencing the same sort of like unrest or like the same sort of desolation that was
Right.
in the United States or whatever city they're in?
Yeah.
um
Which it
where
did
the
seem like
silos
it, yeah,
are.
it did seem like it was somewhere in the States.
Yeah,
But then
but
also
definitely in,
like
yeah,
crazy too, because I'm just thinking about it now, but like the size of like that drill that was underneath the silo was like insanely large, right?
ginormous.
And so then you think about the scale of there being like hundreds of silos. So then there,
Yeah,
that means obviously subsequently would be hundreds of those massive drills that were able to
hundreds.
dig that deep down. And so it begs the question, like, something like that couldn't have been done quickly. Like, you
Mm-mm.
can't create something like that so fast and build massive structures underground, and
Power,
yeah,
like
energy, like an
sewage.
engine system that would literally run for hundreds of years.
Yeah,
Like, a lot of that stuff would have definitely been like taken intricate planning and was not like a botch job. So
right.
yeah, I hope they will give us more of like the backstory of like how this came to be, and like what factors led to the world being like that. And is it, like
Mm-hmm.
you were saying, is it the whole world? Is it just the United States? Like, it would be cool to get more of that sort of information,
Yeah, 100%.
hopefully in season 3.
I know.
But yeah, the main character, like, total badass.
Mm-hmm.
she
She was
she
awesome.
literally went to this other silo, somehow became, she had never
She
swam before, somehow became a scuba swimmer, was able to scuba dive hundreds of feet underwater,
somehow,
was able
yeah.
to get this other silo drained, was able to
Mm-hmm.
get
So it
into
was
like,
flooding, yeah.
yeah, she was able to get into like the judge's office, where there was like a kid who had witnessed his silo fall
Mm-hmm.
apart. So he grew up in isolation. She was able to talk him off the edge and like let him open the door for her. We
Right.
also found out there were other people living in that
I know there
silo.
were
There's just,
so many aspects of this show.
yeah,
We definitely recommend it. I would
yeah,
honestly rewatch it before we
yeah.
watch the
Well, we
next
probably
season.
have
Yeah.
to feel like get ourselves back up to speed. I don't know
Yeah.
what Apple TV raising these prices, but
I know.
that's a
Yeah.
whole
We'll
other
just have to
topic. Yeah,
resubscribe when it comes back.
get that new email at some
Yeah.
point. But yeah, I think unless Apple TV wants, I'm just kidding.
Sponsor us.
But yeah, so overall, like, really entertaining show, good drama. But yeah, the questions that we have a lot more questions than answers at this point.
Yeah, 100%. Because also, like, as the people, and again, it does like also kind of relate to our lives as
Yeah.
well. It's just
Mhm.
like, what aren't they telling us?
Yeah, what
That is always the question.
Mm.
Because I know, and you know, we don't get to be privy to all of the information and all of the facts and science and history and things that
Facts.
the people at the top get to be privy to,
Yeah,
because they'll hide it, they'll keep their little secrets and not share it with the people.
exactly.
And that's
Yeah,
exactly what the silo also
is
kind of
exemplifying.
highlights. Yeah.
Because in the like judge's office too, it's like the whole kind of what they have in Switzerland. It's like it has all the history of humanity, all the music, all the writings, all these
Mhm.
things, as if it was an attempt to keep our civilization going. So
Right.
it's like, again, we need more information as to
What's
why.
going on?
But yeah, so this was our take on like Silo. That was our random topic for the
Yeah.
day. Maybe if we watch the new season when it comes out, we'll have to do a part 2 or
Yeah,
something.
talk about our thoughts on that.
Yeah,
That sounds
facts.
good.
But yeah, so
Cool. Yeah. Well, we will see you next time. We have lots of random topics to
Yeah.
talk about. So we will see
I'll have to
you
add some more.
with yeah, we'll add some more. We'll see you with our next random topic.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.